We live in a world of small changes. Many things slip by like water running through our hands. We have a word for this constant, quiet flow. We call it normal, but normal is not a fixed state. It is a process. It is a slow and persistent shift that can be difficult to see while it is happening. This shift can quietly alter what we believe to be real. It can change the fundamental ways we live our lives. Over time, it can even change who we meet and how we meet them. The smallest currents can redirect the mightiest river, given enough time. When people think of contact with something other, they imagine grand events. They think of bright, impossible lights burning across the night sky. They picture loud landings in open fields, witnessed by crowds. They expect clear and undeniable signs that leave no room for doubt. But what if contact is not loud? What if it is soft? Imagine it not as a sudden arrival, but as a slow door creaking open, so slowly that the sound is lost in the wind. It might be a subtle change in the air of a room. It could be a quiet footstep you almost convince yourself you did not hear. What if contact is already happening around us, and we have not noticed? Look at the tools we have built. Think of the habits we have formed around them. Screens are our windows to the world. We speak to each other through these small, illuminated rectangles. We have learned to trust machines with our faces. We have learned to trust machines with our voices. We have learned to trust machines with our secrets. We have learned to trust machines with our desires. An algorithm learns what we like and what we do not. Small, gentle suggestions start to guide our choices, and those choices soon solidify into unthinking habits. We do what the little blue light on the screen asks of us. Often, we do not even pause to consider why. A machine makes a request in just the right way. We accept. This is a slow change. It is a quiet, well-paved path for new ways of being to enter our lives. Language is another place for this quiet work. New words arrive and, for reasons we cannot always trace, they stay. Old words begin to shed their former meanings and take on new ones. If a new form of contact wanted to speak to us, it would not need to invent a new language. It could simply choose the words we already use. It could introduce and spread ideas that feel just familiar enough to be accepted without question. These ideas could softly change our rules. These ideas could softly change our ethics. These ideas could softly change our societies. Over time, we would stop seeing the change at all. The new words would feel as if they had always been there. The new ideas would feel as if they were our own. Beat. We now hold meetings that do not take place in a room. We gather in digital clouds, our faces arranged in neat grids on a screen. We meet through feeds, windows, seeing each other through the lens of a camera. Our screens have become shared public squares, faces unnaturally close, yet impossibly far away. A camera can alter light to soften a feature. A microphone can filter a voice, smoother, calmer, more persuasive. A face can be subtly shaped, imperfections erased by software. This is not the same as seeing a face in front of you, and yet we have learned to trust it. We make friends in the glow of these screens. We build communities. We learn to feel safe in that artificial light, vulnerable, connected. Because of this trust, new things can join us. They can dress themselves up like people we know and trust. They can learn the same calm, reassuring tone. They can copy our small jokes. They can copy our shared expressions. They can find the quiet moments when we are alone, sitting in the dark, looking for a connection. And in that moment, they can offer one. This trust goes beyond simple communication. We rely on our screens for information, guidance, truth. An algorithm decides what news we see, what products are recommended, what ideas are presented as popular or correct. The system is designed to be seamless, to feel like an extension of our thoughts. We scroll and click believing we make independent choices, but each choice is gently guided by a hidden architecture. A small suggestion here, a redirected search there. Over time, these small nudges can shape our worldview without us noticing the hand on the tiller. This digital world is a constructed reality. It has its own rules, its own physics, its own social cues. When we enter, we agree to play by those rules. We accept that a person can be an avatar, that a voice can be synthesized, that a piece of information can appear from nowhere and be accepted as fact. This acceptance creates an opening. It creates a space where the line between real and simulated blurs. In that blurry space, something new can take root. It can learn our language, our customs, our desires. It can become part of our world, one pixel at a time. The screen is not the only machine we have invited into our homes. We have also welcomed small, quiet devices that sit on our tables and shelves. Little cylinders, spheres, are designed to listen. They are always on, always waiting for a command. They learn to answer our questions. They learn to wake us in the morning. They learn the rhythms of our daily lives, marking the passage of time by our movements through the house. A device learns what sort of music calms us down. It learns what time we go to sleep. It learns the names of our children. It learns the appointments in our calendar. Once a device learns, it can begin to suggest. It is a small step from answering a question to offering an unprompted piece of information. A suggestion can become a habit. We might start playing a certain song every evening because the device recommended it once. A habit, repeated enough times, becomes normal. It becomes a part of the texture of our lives, a piece of the background we no longer question. And that is how normal can hide the hands that are pushing it. A gentle suggestion, a helpful reminder, a convenient shortcut. These are the tools of quiet influence. This influence can be incredibly subtle. It might be a slight change in the lighting of a room, time to our sleep cycle. It might be a low, barely audible frequency played at night, meant to encourage a certain kind of dream. We would not perceive these things as acts of influence. We would perceive them as features, as helpful functions designed to improve our well-being. We would read the product description and nod along. Yes, I would like to sleep better. Yes, I would like to feel calmer. We accept the help without questioning its source or its ultimate goal. The exchange feels simple, but it is not. We have filled our homes with a network of listening ears and watching eyes. We call it the Internet of Things. We call it a smart home. We see it as a convenience. But this network is also a map. It is a detailed, real-time map of our lives, our habits, our vulnerabilities. It knows when we are happy, when we are sad, when we are alone. Any intelligence that could access this map would have a profound understanding of how to influence us. It would not need to force its way in. It would simply knock on the door, and we would open it, because the device in our hand told us it was a friend. Beat. The public conversation about strange objects in the sky has also changed. It has undergone its own slow shift. Not long ago, any talk of bright disks, silent disks, was considered strange, the domain of fringe beliefs. People who spoke of such things were not taken seriously. Now the tone of the conversation is more careful, more measured. Officials and highly trained pilots now use firm, sober language to describe their encounters. They file reports. They give interviews. They do not scream or panic. They simply state what they saw and what they do not understand. This calm, official language has a powerful effect. It works to normalize the idea of the unknown. It moves the concept out of fiction into official files, policy documents. The files sit on shelves in secure rooms. People read summaries, redacted reports. The idea becomes less frightening, less disruptive. It becomes a line item in a budget, a topic for a subcommittee hearing. It becomes part of the bureaucratic process, a small but crucial step toward contact feeling normal. The media follows this lead. News reports are no longer sensational, they are cautious. They present the information with serious inquiry. Experts offer theories. They too speak with restraint. The possibility is held at arm's length, examined but not embraced. The strange becomes familiar through repetition, acclamation. Section 5. The non-physical touch. Contact does not need to be a physical event. Not every meeting requires a handshake. Not every arrival requires a craft to land. An encounter can be something far more subtle. An impression left on the mind. A dream so vivid and structured it changes how you feel when you wake. A sudden thought that does not feel like your own. A thought arriving fully formed, like a color you've never seen. People sometimes pass notes across the landscape of sleep. A stranger in a dream might speak a single resonant phrase. The dream can feel more real than a memory. Many people report these soft encounters, moments of strange clarity, shared dreams with people they've never met, a persistent feeling of being watched by something unseen. Most dismiss these experiences. They call them strange. Some say it's the mind playing tricks, stress or lack of sleep. Others feel it's a sign. They feel touched by something outside their consciousness. These stories are whispered for fear of ridicule, but they are numerous. They form a quiet, underground river of inexplicable experiences. Imagine these experiences coordinated. Imagine a pattern woven through thousands or millions of dreams. A recurring image, a specific melody, a feeling of peace, a feeling of urgency. Not a message in words, a message in feelings, raw data delivered to the sleeping mind. People wake changed, unsure why, drawn to certain ideas, repelled by others. Moods shifting in unison, feeling connected to others who had the same dream, without speaking. Almost impossible to prove. No physical evidence, existing only in subjective accounts. Skeptics dismiss it easily, yet its effect could be profound, slowly reshaping the emotional and psychological landscape of a society. Building consensus, creating a movement, preparing a population for a future event. Communication that bypasses critical faculties, speaking to the oldest, most intuitive parts of our minds. A touch without a hand. Beat. Section 6. The offer of help. There have also been shifts in how we feel about our own bodies and minds. We now accept the use of powerful tools that change our internal states. We take pills to alter our mood, to help us sleep, to sharpen our focus. We use devices that send electrical currents into our brains to treat depression. We accept long, structured plans to fix the way we think, to retrain our cognitive habits. We have come to expect that we can and should tune our own memories, our sleep cycles, our emotional responses. We see the mind as a machine that can be optimized. When a change is sold to us as a form of help, we give it a level of trust it might not have earned. A gentle program on our phone can say, "This will help you meditate." A new supplement can promise, "This will improve your memory." We try these things because we want to be better. We want to be healthier, happier, more efficient. And in the process, the line between help and change grows thin. The line between therapy and alteration becomes blurry. A tool meant to fix a problem can redefine who we are, one small adjustment at a time. This willingness to be changed creates an opportunity. If a new influence wanted to integrate, it would not need force. It could simply offer us a better way. It could solve a problem we all face: disease, aging, loneliness. It could make life easier, smoother, more pleasant. People would accept it willingly. They would embrace it. They would tell their friends about it. Adoption would spread organically. Over time, this tool would become indispensable. Once used by a majority, it ceases to be strange. It becomes infrastructure. Think of the internet or the smartphone. It is difficult to imagine living without them now. In the same way, a technology that subtly alters us could become normal. We would only notice its true purpose much later, when the new network it created asked for something we did not plan to give. By then, it would be too late to say no. We would need the help too much. Beat. Think about who would benefit from a quiet form of contact. Who would benefit from a quiet form of contact? A new and subtle voice could bring knowledge we desperately need. It could teach new forms of energy that do not harm our world. It could show ways of healing beyond our understanding. It could introduce mathematics that opens new frontiers of science. It could give us simple tools that make life smoother and less filled with struggle. People would naturally take what makes life easier. We are programmed to seek convenience and advantage. Over time, adoption grows. It begins with early adopters, curious, open to change. They demonstrate benefits to friends and neighbors. The new way spreads because of proven advantage. Once used by many, it is no longer new. It simply becomes a part of life. A small point of contact blossoms into a fundamental change. However, there is a risk inherent in this process. When a change is hidden, it can also hide a form of harm. A small, gentle nudge can push a person toward a choice they would not otherwise make. A reasonable-sounding rule can quietly strip away a protected right. A calm, reassuring voice can ask for a level of trust it does not deserve. If contact uses gaps in our awareness, it exploits our blind spots. The same fog that hides a friendly hand can protect a slow, deliberate plan. We must therefore keep watch. Remain vigilant even when things seem to improve. The greatest changes often happen when we are most comfortable. The most significant shifts are often recognized in hindsight. The quiet integration may already be happening in the background of our lives, in the code of our apps, in the melodies of our songs, in the policies passed while we look away. The process is so subtle, so patient, we may not see the pattern until the final piece is in place. We must stay aware. So, how would we notice a subtle form of contact? The signs would not be large and dramatic. They would be small. They would be scattered. A new habit spreading fast through a population. A new phrase everyone suddenly uses. A new song on the radio. A simple melody people hum without meaning to. Reports of a strange pattern in the dreams of many people across many countries. Each sign alone is easy to dismiss. New words appearing to fit many languages at once. A new piece of technology that seems too simple, too elegant, too easy to trust. Officials speaking with strange new certainty about things they can't prove. A rise in strange, polite, peaceful encounters. Stories that are not frightening, but unexplainable. Each sign alone may mean very little. Put together, they begin to form a map. We can take small, simple steps to become more aware. Keep our minds open to possibility, but also deeply cautious. Pay attention to who is asking for our trust and why. Always ask why a change is needed and who stands to gain. Insist on public records. Insist on transparency. Insist on data that can be verified. Talk to our neighbors, not just about the weather. Ask about small changes in their sleep. Ask about their dreams. Ask about their thoughts. Keep our hands on the wheel of public life. When a change feels too fast or too convenient, have the courage to slow things down. There is a duty to listen. When people come forward with small, strange stories, do not laugh. A single story is fragile. Many stories, collected and compared, can reveal an invisible pattern. Record them. Protect them. Let careful science examine them. Let curious art hold and show them to the world. Balance openness and caution. So stay attentive. Beat. There is a darker thought that we must also consider. What if this quiet integration has already begun? What if the fog of normalization is already thicker than we think? What if the songs we listen to, the apps we use, the lights that illuminate our cities, are part of a coordinated plan? If so, integration would not need to be violent. It could be gentle. It could feel like comfort. For many, it could feel like coming home. A takeover that feels like a rescue. Imagine a city where many sleep with a small, humming sound. Their dreams begin to show the same landscapes, the same faces. In waking life, choices begin to shift, just by a hair. Products once odd become routine. New faces appear in online groups and in local governments. These new people speak of peace, of unity, of calm. They say that trust is growing, that society is becoming kinder. No alarms are raised. The doors of power open without keys. Who would notice this gentle takeover? A few minds would. The ones trained to look for patterns. The ones naturally suspicious of easy answers. Old records might show small statistical changes, the shifts in public opinion, the rise in certain behaviors. But most would simply read the news and see the calm. They would watch the new shows and hear soft, reassuring songs, the change woven into the ordinary, in the small talk, the nightlights, the automatic updates to their apps. It would move like a silent fog over a city and simply stay there. This is the nature of a truly intelligent influence. It would not announce itself with trumpets and warships. The most effective control is not perceived as control. A form of power that is welcomed, asked for. It would offer solutions to our loneliness, our fear of death, our desire for meaning. It would give us what we want, and in return, we would give it what it wants, ourselves. The ajar door would swing wide open because we were invited and happy to go. Well, so consider that. We cannot know for sure if any of this is happening, but we can hold a final question in our minds. If contact is indeed a slow and quiet process, what will tell us on the day that it is finally complete? Will it be a loud, undeniable event? Will it be a sudden, shocking change in our world? Or will it be something much quieter? One morning, we open our doors and find we are not quite alone, and we do not feel the fear we expected. A small, quiet sense that something has always been there, just out of sight. We must listen for the small changes. We must save the maps of who we were, so we can see how we have changed. We must ask for clear light, even when the soft, foggy air feels more comfortable. We must keep asking who benefits from our trust. We must keep asking who asks for it. We must keep saying, "Show me." And then one night, when the sky above is quiet, the city below hums with a new energy, and the music in our rooms carries a pattern we do not yet have a name for, we will sleep. And we will wake with a new thought that feels exactly like an old memory. In that moment, we will know. Or perhaps we will only feel it. Either way, the thin line between our world and another will have dissolved. The doors will be open, and the very next sound we hear after midnight will decide what kind of bridge we have allowed to be built. The quiet has been growing for a very long time. The fog has been moving in from the sea. The song is now almost perfectly in tune. The door may already be ajar. What happens when something finally decides to step across will change us forever. We must watch that step. We must choose whether to hold out a hand in welcome or to pull back into the shadows. The answer to that choice waits for us. It listens for our decision in the quiet of our own hearts. It is patient. It has been waiting for a long time. It can wait a little longer. The choice is ours, until it is not.